Hi, this is Jakob. I'm recording from the open campground at Sondrups Strand near Horsens. I hope it's not too dark to see. I'm camping out with a friend, Joachim, an old friend of mine. Just preparing some firewood for the fire to keep the mosquitoes away. We set up this small camp at the open campground just at the edge of the ocean actually. Here's Joachim's sleeping place. A hammock and a tarp hanging over the cliff. He's quite mad. And here's my tent, my Wango Banshee 200. First night in that, will be funny to test it out. I think I'll record something in the morning when the weather is a bit better. Or the light is a bit better because the weather is actually very nice, quite light, quite dry. It's been raining all day. We've just been collecting some firewood at the beach. I just had a few freeze-dried meals. Yeah, that's about it. I think I'll turn off from now and I'll return tomorrow when it's lighter. It's about 9:45 and we just got up. Here's Joachim's sleeping place. Just want to show you how he's hanging down a cliff. He survived the night. I'm surprised about that. And here's my tent, the Banshee 200. It's actually quite a nice tent, just spent my first night in it. It gets quite warm in there and a little humid. It's expected for a tent this size. I do not understand how they can call it a two-person's tent, but that may just be because I'm rather large. There is a fair bit of condensation on the inside of the fly sheet, but the sleeping compartment is rather dry. I would, however, really have liked if it had been about 14 centimeters or so longer, because it's a bit on the short side. But you can sleep in there. It's quite comfortable. It's quite stable. It doesn't move around in the wind. So yeah, a good tent. Very lightweight, quite cheap. I think I can give it my recommendation. And here's Joachim firing up his pimped up Trangia with a pimped up Trangia triangle, preparing a breakfast, a spot of bacon, and we have freeze-dried eggs. Yeah, the fire's gone out. That's bad bushcrafting. Nobody really bothered to stay up and stoke it. And here's our view in the morning. It's a bit foggy. The seagulls are having fun, but all in all, it's a very nice, about a bit cold morning. So, get the bacon going, and the eggs finished, and water for tea over the Trangia. Excellent. So, this is what breakfast looked like. A spot of green tea, some bacon, and some freeze-dried eggs with onions and pepper. Doesn't really taste much like eggs, but it's alright. For a very traditional thing here in Denmark, an underberg, which Joachim has not had before. It'll be quite interesting. Skål!
Skål.
Good for the stomach, wakes you up.
Good for the jeans.
Yeah. Or kills you. How do you find it?
Questionable.
Yeah, some people has that feeling about
It's
it.
okay. It's pretty good actually.
Yeah, you feel the warmth all the way down. It awakens your
I
body.
don't know if it's warmth or numbness. Same difference.
Yeah. You'll get used to them. I've got plenty more. Just wanted to show you one of the things that really pisses me off at the open campgrounds in Denmark. It happens everywhere. The trees are heavily vandalized. You know, it's just kids buying an axe cheaply from a hardware store, thinking they're lumberjacks or, I don't know, goblins. It's quite saddening, actually. Here someone's been, I guess they've been throwing their axe. I can't really understand that, if they've been throwing it. Either they've been very good at it, or they have had quite a few trips down the beach to retain it. And you can see people have been cutting down larger trees. It's a really sad thing because, you know, this campsite doesn't have a shelter. It's quite a small campsite. But the larger one with shelters, it's not that rare that the shelters are either vandalized with graffiti or people make campfires inside of them. I don't know. But it's really sad to see because the budget to retain these campsites are quite limited, actually. So vandalism like this destroys these sites a lot faster than either nature or the department that retains these places can actually do anything about it. And we have a lot of campgrounds closing down because of this. One of the things I like about this place is that the fireplace isn't filled with garbage. There's a few bottle caps and cigarette butts, but that's to be expected. But I don't understand this mindless vandalism because, you know, it doesn't really make any sense to me. These places are provided free for us by the private owners or by the state. You don't have to pay anything to use them. You don't have to. Most of them you don't have to book in advance. There are some rules about how many nights you can spend here, and there are rules about how many people you can stay here. You're not allowed to have parties here, you know. First we actually went to Bikested, where there's a shelter a lot larger campground, but we found it filled with scooters and mopeds and kids, beer bottles and ghetto blasters, which is more or less the usual thing you have come to expect when you go there. Really sad because it's an excellent place. I really love to come there, but the place is so heavily vandalized. It's I actually started staying away from there because it's so depressive. I guess the local youth think this is their own destructive playground on their own terms, if you can say it that way. And they tend to break up bushes, set fire to them, and leave the charred, maybe still burning branches outside the fireplace. I don't really understand that. There are no bears here to scare away, nor are there any wolves. But I've seen that before, and I think it's something they do to light up the place. I guess by the amount of bottle caps we found when we came here, I cleaned a lot of them up. I have a habit of doing that. Somebody's have been having a party here. Somebody's been trying to make their own ad hoc fireplace. Not unusual either. You know, there's usually one and only one large stone set fireplace at these campgrounds. And making fires anywhere else is illegal and dangerous sometimes. But even at a place like Bikested, we've experienced a lot of times that people have made fireplaces next to or almost under the shelter, which is made of pine wood. I don't know if you're just mean or you're just stupid when you do things like that, but you're not adding positively to the human gene pool if you're doing something like that. These campgrounds are quite a unique thing. We don't have allemannsretten or all man's right. We have some forests that are open for everyone for a single night, but they are it's very limited what you can do there. So we have these campgrounds, and they're scattered all over the country. This is a very small one, as I said. There are larger ones. There are some who are very popular, where you have to book them in advance. Some of them are publicly owned, some of them are privately owned. This one, I think, is publicly owned. Just down there, there's a building with modern toilets and running water and even electricity. It's not always you can find toilets and running water, and electricity is quite rare. Don't really know why people think they need that. Maybe for charging their cell phones when they record too much video. I don't know. But it's very, very common that there's toilets. The running water is a common feature of these places as well. There are a few of the places I stayed where there are no running water, but just a dry closet, a dry toilet. But usually there are both toilets and running water at these places in the vicinity of this area, where you can use the toilet, use the water free of charge. I think it's time to wash the dishes. You could of course just videotape Joachim while he's washing the dishes. That would be a really great idea. Yeah! Look at him not liking the idea.
Speak.
What? You want me to do the dishes while you film me?
That's the plan.
I don't think that's going to happen, but let's turn off this thing and wash the dishes. Yeah. That's the thing with Trandias, you tend to use a lot of pots and pans, because you've got them. By the way, just wanted to show you bushcraft tip of the day. Something some of you might know, some of you might think as very obvious, and some of you might think as that, whoa, that's very clever. I learned it recently and I really think it's clever. Clothing pins. Especially this variety, you know. They're very cheap, they're very versatile. You can use them for most things, like keeping open your fly sheet. Okay, that's rather difficult to do one-handed. So, and you can use it to hang things. I usually keep about 4 of those on the daisy chain on the side of my pack. Clothing pins, just a handful on your pack or in your possibles pouch or whatever you call it. It works for me, and it's a very cheap way of joining and suspending things, and well, it's a very low-tech solution to problems that can be quite annoying, such as fly sheet who needs drying but can only be folded up inside the tent, and suspending various gear items and so on. Just gotten a nice and cozy fire going, just for the fun of it. Just blatantly displaying my tools here, my Baco Laplander and my Vetterling's small axe and an Opinel number 8 carbon. There's lots of downed woods down at the beach, nice and dry. Totally legal to take and burn, as long as you don't take it home and as long as it's not standing on a root or positioned in someone's property. Which makes it all that stranger that people are chopping down the live trees up here, because it's literally a 2 minutes walk and 2 minutes cutting and chopping. Then you've got plenty of firewood. But I guess people are either rather stupid or rather lazy, or both.